Hello everyone. In the age of the internet, there is so much to hear and to see that we have a problem deciding what or who we should listen to in this cacophony of voices. So why should you listen to me? I'll give you a few reasons. First of all, I believe I'm addressing issues which most people would consider among the most important. I will talk about family, happiness, and questions about the life hereafter, and about the possible existence of God. Secondly, I will try my best to talk about these questions in a concise and succinct way, in order not to take up your time. Thirdly, I intend not only to talk about the central issues of life, but also to offer solutions to problems. So let's begin with my first talk. Since I'm in Germany, I would like to begin with a quote from the greatest philosopher of the modern age, Immanuel Kant. He said, "There are two wonders of life, the starry heavens above and the moral law within." Kant wrote extensively about the moral law within, and no philosopher since has managed to present us with a convincing argument that denies the moral law. So why do I want to talk about the moral law? It is because, for me, I cannot be happy unless my fellow human beings are happy as well. And in order that we can all live together in happiness, there has to be a moral law that we can all live by and that resonates with our minds and hearts. I would like to call this moral law universal principles and values. Religion has always existed as long as human beings have existed, and the desire for a spiritual life, for a life of goodness, and for answers to questions about God and eternal life seem to be part of human nature. If the differences between religions are overemphasized, this can lead to conflict and even war. But I want to emphasize what it is that religions have in common, and that is moral law, or universal principles and values. For example, a universal value is the dignity and the basic right of a human being to develop his or her own unique personality through having the opportunities and freedom to do so. This is the idea underlying the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Many nations have signed it, but how many take it seriously? There are rules for football, and if you go against them, you have committed a foul. In the same way, there is a universal standard of behavior that all human beings understand, even when they don't follow it. Some examples of universally recognized fair play or morality might be, for example, honesty or not lying, acting unselfishly, keeping promises or commitments, or respecting people's right to self-determination. We call a person who abides by this fair play a man or woman of integrity. Now, people who break those rules, even national governments, will always try to find a special excuse why they broke them. They will try to justify their actions because they know in their hearts they have transgressed universal standards of justice and fair play. There's a difference between the natural laws and the spiritual laws within. The law of gravity cannot be ignored, but spiritual laws are based on free will. So spiritual laws can be broken. If you ignore the law of gravity or the biological laws of your body, you can see an immediate result. If you ignore the spiritual law of goodness and justice, you will also see a result, though it might not be right away. We call spiritual laws universal because everyone recognizes them. Therefore, we think there is no need to explain them. They're part of ourselves. In the same way, mathematical laws such as that 3 minus 1 equals 2 are absolute. These universal spiritual laws and shared values have been known by all civilizations throughout history. The moral teachings of the ancient Egyptians, the Chinese, and Greeks, for example, are very much alike. Being a coward or cheating people who have been good to you is not admired in any country. People who act that way will always try to hide what they are doing because they know very well that it goes against universal spiritual principles. We always have a stream of excuses ready when we do not observe the universal laws of human behavior, such as keeping promises or acting magnanimously. All these excuses only prove how much we believe in them. We feel so badly when we break those laws that we desperately try to shift the responsibility onto someone else. Universal spiritual principles, the moral law within, are intrinsic to human nature. They are not invented by us. They are timeless and they are unchanging. Though there are differences in opinion about how far our unselfishness and generosity should extend, only to the family level or the national level or to the global level, there is nevertheless agreement among all people that selfishness is not admired, it is despised. The absolute standard of morality is very real. In our heart of hearts, we would all like to understand and practice universal morality perfectly because we intuit that that is the way we can realize our dreams. And we cannot realize our dreams alone. We need other people. That is why we need to build strong relationships built on universal spiritual principles. If our dreams and aspirations extend to the world level, then we have to build strong and moral relationships with people of all races and be able to dialogue freely with people of all religions, ideological persuasions, and cultures. I believe it is the task of all religions to teach and practice these universal spiritual principles and values. This is even more important and urgent than teaching our own particular theologies and practicing our own particular rituals. There have been many revolutions, and some of the ideas they brought us have helped us to create a more humane world. But there has to be one final revolution, and that is the revolution within, that can transform our mind from being occupied with my egoistic self, which ultimately leads to misery, to caring about others. I'm talking about the revolution in human consciousness. Is there a secret formula for liberating our minds? I will reveal the secret formula. It is to practice true love. Through practicing true love, which means having pleasure in investing in others, our mind can open up to the wonders that exist in the big wide world of spiritual freedom. When we succeed in practicing true love as if it were part of our nature, then the human race can truly begin to live. Thank you for listening. Today, the world needs good leadership, and that will be the topic of my next talk.